or 3 of them. So where we went flat, building to building and distributed pamphlets and gave a small. So in one floor there would be 3 flats. So we ring all bells and said, can you give me 2 minutes? I want to explain about blood donation. What we explained is, how will it benefit you? When you give blood, it could go to the recipient, it could be lying in the freezer, I don't know what. But one thing is for sure, you will end up getting fresh blood. Yes? So immediately, uncle keeps telling me, uncle told me one thing which I always remember, where he said, not doing seva or doing seva in a day should be a normal thing. Not doing seva should become an exception. Correct? So today what has happened, unfortunately, doing seva on a particular day or an event has become an exception. So we try to analyze, I try to speak to people also as to what exactly is the issue. So the issue is, what do you mean by not having time? Let it be seva related, let it be whatever related. When somebody comes and says, I don't have time, well, what we have come to a conclusion is, no time is equal to no priority. Right? Now the reason is, we all heard Swami speak about seva to a great extent. I'll tell you as a financial planner, as I had taken the session last time, this is the thing which we noticed. Families who are involved with seva, it need not be just Sathya Sai Seva organization, it could be any kind of a thing, their finances are well placed. Their house is very much in order. They know the distinction between needs and desires. Their children know the distinction between needs and desires. Problems are limited. Patience has increased. Peace of mind is great. And they are very less affected by so many turmoils which they come in their normal life. So many benefits because of doing one thing. So as a financial planner, I think it's a great investment option. So investing time in this makes a huge sense to you personally. Right? So it is not a given that should I do or should I not do. The question is, how much should I do and how much should I not do. Right? So it generally comes across in the point of time where I say there is no priority. When I talk to a lot of people, I talk to a lot of youth also, they say, "Arey, Sunday nahi hota hai, Saturday nahi hota hai." I am not denying it because we have responsibilities as well and we are all working and we need to do it. But what exactly can be a possible solution for us to be able to allocate time is what I will be talking to you. Right? So, we will be talking a little bit about time management. Now, time management doesn't mean stretching and working for long hours. Time management means being able to prioritize your work in a particular way so that you are able to finish things faster and do more work. You agree with me? Yes? Right? So, it is all about that. So, it is making management of time in order to make most out of it. Right? So, time management is not to work harder or longer, but to work smarter. Now when we come to the word work smarter, what is the basic thing? I am only switching it off. What is the first basic thing which we need to understand? If I need to manage my time, if I need to start managing my time, what is the first thing, what should be the first step? What according to you should be the first step? First I need to know what all I need time for. Yes or no?
Yes.
Correct? So first I need to know what all things I need time for. What are my activities? Now the problem with activities is all is in the brain. Yeah, mind as you call it. If you do it a spiritual way, it's mind. Okay? So and there is a research which I read somewhere, I don't know how authentic it is, says a human being gets about 60,000 thoughts a day. So I decided something on Saturday, by Sunday it is history. Right? All things change. So first thing I remember in my school days, we used to make a timetable, exam timetable, which I used to, stick it not very hard because it used to change every day. Because today I will decide I will start so much, then 1 day per chapter, then 2 chapters in 1 day, then last day 11 hours, 11 chapters, all these things. So this is the way it used to be. Because what happens is, when I am not doing certain things I want to, after a point of time it leads to frustration. You feel, I lost time, I am not able to do all those things. I am not able to take care of my health, I am not able to do my spiritual things, I am not able to give full time in office, and those things which I was doing in the past I am not able to continue. Yes or no? So the first exercise, so we will do this actually. So if we had a time as a workshop, we would have probably made all of us, we could have sat down and do it. But the first thing we need to do today, once we go home, it's a Sunday, take up a diary or something and list down all the possible activities which I need to do. Okay? That will be walking also, that will be meditation also, that will be seva also, and seva also be specific what you are looking for. Okay? Be focused. right? Because if you are focused and you are saying, okay, this is what I will do, I think we end up doing it far better. Yes or no? And I follow what Uncle's model is of going very retail. So we have a dialysis center where we go every day, every 3 days in the morning, or we go to Tata Cancer on every Thursday. So it is something which we have fixed up and it is following luckily with Swami's grace for a long time. So first note down what are things which we need to do. That is the first step of time management. But we need to write it down. Right? So that is the first thing. Whatever I am saying, please you go and download this to your children and youth as well. Correct? Because probably you might be doing it, they might not be doing it. Right? So, if I look at the entire, we have a marker? Sure. Yeah. If we look at the entire concept of time management, I had attended a course on time management, then I have delivered it. I remember when I had done this course some 6 years back, okay, that time they said, what are the things you want to do in life, please note down. And when I wrote down, it came to 1,200 and something, okay, and I was feeling very embarrassed. So it was like they had given us a sheet and you had to submit that sheet before you come for the session. Which was, almost 2008-9, and I was feeling embarrassed. I think they will come and laugh and they say, "Isko 1000 cheez karna hai," right? And I went and I submitted. He said, "You sit in the last because you have the lowest number." So he said, "There are others with 25,000, there are others with 30,000." So a lot of things were there. All those things which we wanted to do. When you actually sit down and write, you'll realize. So that is the first thing. Now, time management, whenever I have seen it or whenever I have looked at it, it revolves around exactly two things, right? Which we see here. There is something which is urgent and something which is important. Now, can we just understand for a minute? Can you tell me what is the difference between urgent and important?
Unplanned for.
Time bound. Unplanned for.
Urgent is you cannot delay anymore.
You cannot delay anymore.
You have to do it.
Correct. Doing exercise every day in the morning, is it important?
Yes.
Yes. If you don't do it for a long time,
That becomes urgent.
exactly. So today I have to walk every day for half an hour. Doctor says हर दिन half an hour चलना चाहिए. I don't do it. Then suddenly one day I do my test and he says थोड़ा sugar मिला है, थोड़ा cholesterol increase हो गया, BP थोड़ा high हो गया. Correct? अभी करना ही पड़ेगा. Right? So now what happens because of this entire thing is now I am under pressure. Right? And 90% of the cases we are seeing today is every day has become a firefighting exercise. Whatever. So every day is urgent. So important के लिए time ही नहीं है. Right? So the entire time management session runs around, or if I am looking at anything to do with seva, it runs around these two aspects as to what is urgent, what is important. Now once I noted down my particular perspective as to what are the various things I want to cover or what are the various activities I want to do, it is very, very easy for me to bifurcate it this way. Okay? There are certain things which are low on urgency but which are extremely high on importance. There are certain things which are high on urgency but extremely low on importance. There are certain things which are urgent and not important. There are certain things which are not urgent and important. What you will do, I will go through this exercise completely today. I have just a request. If you need to follow this, first go home and list down the things you want to do, and then we will be putting them into these squares. Are you with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
You will be putting them into these squares. Once you put into these squares, actually, if we had time, I had certain exercises by means of which we could understand our urgency index. We could understand how well we are managing time, but we are actually today is more of time management because we are short of time. So these are the things. So where do I categorize seva? So where do I categorize my personal development? I look at seva as more of a personal development more than anything else. My own personality in terms of developing. When we do our Thursdays Tata Cancer Seva, it's not that people only from the Sathya Seva organization come. There are people who come from other places also who are very inspired by what things are happening. And the one thing which they go back and they say, we don't understand God, we don't understand spirituality. I have gone home and become more humble. So what are these things when you say I become more humble, humility has sunk in, all these things, end of the day you are very peaceful, right? It is a good deal, no? It's a good financial deal as I always call it. right? So when I go to Tata Cancer Hospital and then we see children with tumors, we see husbands, wives who are 19 years old and the husbands, who are with very bad situations. Sometimes we can't even photograph, you see them, it is that bad with cancer, and then you come home and your AC doesn't work. It is not a problem. Yes or no? Yes. It is not a problem. You go and do water harvesting and then one day your building says 2 घंटे के लिए पानी नहीं आएगा. It is not a problem. Because you have seen what happens. I remember one day I was in Palasdari, one full day alone. From morning to evening I was just going and seeing what are the pipes laid down and all that. And then when you see the state out there and then you come back and you open the tap and the water comes, you understand what kind of a lifestyle we are leading, isn't it? Yeah. So what we suggest is, as soon as you get things, you list down things, you put them in a manner. So now I am just teaching you probably a method by means of which it will become easier for us to manage our time better. I divided it into this 2 by 2 matrix. Okay? If you see this is low and this is high. Of what is this? Urgency. And this is importance, which is high and which is low. Let's take each and every quadrant at one point of time and you tell me according to you what should come in that quadrant. Are you with me? Now there cannot be a generic answer because in the class of 30 everybody will have something different. Yes or no? Yeah. So the first one, if I say, is high on urgency and importance. So can you tell me what will be there according to you? High on urgency and importance.
Someone not well in the family.
Someone not well in the family. What else?
Getting late to office.
Getting late to office. Is your tire punctured?
At my age, setting my financial things in order.
Setting my financial things in order. Okay. You can talk to me later. Next.
My FDs are missing, I have misplaced it, I have forgotten where I put what.
The next only urgency. It's serious urgency.
Serious
urgency. Yeah. What else? I just want to quote something. Chandrasekhar uncle has this habit of walking to Siddhivinayak. I don't know whether you know it. It's almost 4 or 5 days a week. Right? Every 4 or 5 days he prays for somebody and walks to Siddhivinayak. And one day I asked him, what is this? Isn't it too much? And he told me one day my elder son will tell my younger son, आज मालूम है daddy bathroom तक चल के गया. When I am looking at seva per se, let me understand. Probably I am far younger to you. You have more experience. You have seen it more. Every day is a serious opportunity lost. Imagine we are in a particular. Here I am talking because we are all devotees. We are in an era where we have seen Bhagwan himself come down. He has shown us a direction. He has shown us a way by means of which my entire this birth and maybe future births can be restored. Then every day if I am missing out on some kind of seva activity, I am not saying it has to be something specific, some kind of a seva activity, it is actually urgent and important. Because tomorrow I cannot guarantee my health. Tomorrow I cannot guarantee my financial condition. Probably something else might demand more. So at a particular night, in the night when I am actually sleeping and that particular day has gone without doing any kind of a seva, it's actually life wasted. Yes sir.
I want to add something.
Yes sir.
Tomorrow you may not get that opportunity. If you don't do the seva now,
Correct.
tomorrow you may not get that opportunity.
Absolutely. That is one more very important thing. Tomorrow you will not get the opportunity. I probably want to do something right now which is tomorrow is not there. So wherever you get an opportunity, I personally feel as a youth or as other youths are also there, just grab it. And if you really want to look at something in your urgent and important, this should feature. More than tire puncture, more than FD missing, more than anything else, this should feature, and this should become what I personally learned also from uncles. This should become a part of your life rather than an event. Okay, Sunday morning, let's do Narayan Seva once a month is okay. Sunday morning, we are not doing Narayan Seva. That's the problem. Correct? So when this becomes urgent and important, automatically things fall into place. Because I know where I am and I know where I am not. And I am not saying it takes time all the time. Resources, as uncle said, money is never a problem. Okay, and at the same time also it could be as much as 1 hour. Are you with me? Yes or no? So the first thing is urgent and important. So now you decide while you go home what kind of things and what kind of seva and what has to be urgent and important. Like for example, for me, to be very frank, I am not very spiritually, I don't know much. I try to meditate sometimes, only sometimes. Okay, so I don't understand. But for me, more than that, this is priority because seva is also a great form of meditation. Don't you think so? Yeah. So when you look at this, put your urgent and important. And urgent and important will have practical things as well. My office, my being on time, everything. Right? So search for an activity which you will get time in that point of time. So my timing, I have to go to office every day, so I get time in the morning from 6 to 7, and so I have aligned my activities in such a way where 6 to 7 I do my Narayan Seva and come back. Correct? That is one. Second, let's go to low on importance, and it's not urgent but it is important. So what it is, these things are not urgent but it is important. Now the problem what will happen is, most of the cases is, we don't even know that these things are important till they start falling into this quadrant. Are you with me? Which can be your exercise, which can be all those things. So when you note down, you will clearly understand whether this is important or not, and it is not urgent. But if you keep stopping this for a long time, automatically it starts shifting. I have seen so many people who have come and told me, seniors, they said, we are so happy the way you are able to do seva, we are able to do bhajan. I wish during our time I had done that. Now I need seva. Recipient of seva. Yes or no? So what I personally suggest is, given a chance, just grab it. Right? Okay. Now what is this? What is this quadrant?
Not urgent.
Not urgent, not important. Should it even be here? No. Go back home, make your list. You are giving all your time to these things.
TV watching.
Watching TV. While the seminar is on, the mobile runs. A mail comes. Who sends you a mail? It can be important, but 99% of the time it is not urgent. At least on a Sunday morning.
Chatting.
Correct? So immediately that goes. TV goes. WhatsApp. Okay? I got a SMS yesterday saying computer, laptops and mobile phone were actually discovered to save our time. What a joke. Right? So what is happening? Most of the time we are on that. So what we have decided, now even in the office we have decided is that we will check our mail 4 times a day on these specific times. We will do this at this point of time. You are far more organized. You are doing things far better. And if there is so much of an urgency, the person will anyway call you. I think our life was more organized when there was no mobile phone. Right? We will say, उधर मैं तुमको 6:30 को उधर मिलेगा तो 6:30 को लिखता हूँ. अभी बोलता मैं पहुँचते text करता हूँ. पहुँचूंगा कि? Yes or no? So when you come, general research is, when you do your list of time management, you will see 60 to 70% of your activities here. Not urgent and not important. Urgent and not important. This happens specifically with students and all those things as well, where you are sitting to study and a friend calls up and says, "ये movie के लिए चलते हैं क्या?" Correct? And you suddenly, because of your peer pressure, you feel probably you have to go. It is urgent. He is calling you, right? But it is not important, right? So what we have to actually see is, once you go home, it's a request today, whomsoever wants to follow it, first write it down. Please don't think, please write it down. Once you write it down, after that you decide what you want in this quadrant, what you want in this quadrant, what you want in this quadrant, what you want in this quadrant. Correct? You do that. And once you know what you want in this quadrant, automatically you get time for everything. Yeah, in financial planning we keep saying differentiate between needs and desires. Okay? What is a need, what is a desire? The problem is the line is very thin. Because suddenly what was need yesterday has become desire today, and what was desire yesterday has become need today. So that's why Swami says ceiling on desires. Right? So this keeps happening. So once you keep doing that exercise, we come to know what is a need, what is a desire. Similarly, once we do this exercise, I will know what is urgent and what is, and I have to focus only on this quadrant. If this can be done, things can really be worked out. Because as far as seva activities are concerned, I think you have all variants. You can go physically also. You can do technologically wise. You can use technology and do it. You can do so many things which can be allocated perfectly. At the same time, keeping in mind the family. Are you with me? Yeah. So, what are the techniques? If I have to, because I am not pushing it too much because we have lots to cover. First is set goals, right? Set goals. Which is the most famous game in the world? I keep telling this. You know which is the most famous game in the world? Okay. You know. Okay. It is football. Because last time I said the same thing. You know why football is most famous? Those who attended last time, please. You know why football is most famous? There is a research on this. It's not cricket, especially with the last week performance I think. Huh?
Because you have a set point, you have to make.
It is the simplest game to understand. It is the simplest game to understand because there is a goal post and there is a football. Football is just a means to hit the goal. What happens generally, generally the confusion happens is because assuming I play football without the goal post. What will I do? I'll just keep kicking ball here and there. I remember this Mahabharata episode where Dronacharya asks Arjun, तुमको क्या दिखता है? When the archery thing, and he says, मुझे पक्षी की सिर्फ आँख दिखती है. Supposing he had not seen it, just hit the arrow, gone in somebody else's eye. You know, Mahabharata would have taken a different turn, right? So goal is focused right from that time, and so is football or something like that. So the first thing is I need to know if I want to do seva or if I want to do any activity, why am I doing it? When that why comes into place, then as uncle rightly said, there is no need for fame. Anonymous is the best way to work. Okay? And then things work in a very, very focused manner. You are getting the amount of satisfaction which you derive out of it. At the same time, you are able to put your 100% in seva. One thing which we missed out in the project, every time we went and approached any organization or anything for project, we said, you will fund only 99% of what is needed in the project, 1% we will pay. Correct? Most of the problems in places is the admin costs sometimes go to 20-25% of doing the project. In whatever projects of water harvesting we have implemented, 100% has gone only in that. That's why 4 lakhs is possible. Yeah? So, the fact remains that first set the goal. So, please go home today and list down the various goals which I have, which I need to do, which will include all spiritual, health, everything. Then, what is this? So, if it is not on priority, be very frank with yourself saying it is not on. So, I have a very close friend of mine. Whenever I call him and say time नहीं है बोलते ये statement use ही मत कर सिर्फ ये use कर ये priority नहीं. Are you with me? So, then I come back to this thing. If I don't have time means I don't have priority. So, what I see is second is you prioritize. This is a step-by-step thing. This time management thing is been when I learned it is been done by research people who are experts on time management. So it's not my discovery. But when you follow this, it becomes more efficient to manage time. I would tell you what is the difference between being efficient and effective. Efficient is doing the right things. Effective is doing things right. Okay? Doing the right things means you follow a process, there are chances that you will manage your time better. Are you with me? So, then prioritize कि मेरे को कौन सा अभी करना है और कौन सा बाद में करना है. तो मेरा कौन सा इधर आना चाहिए, कौन सा इधर आना चाहिए, कौन सा इधर आना चाहिए and what should come here. Right? Once I do that, then organize it. Okay, now I want to do this. Right? For example, I want to do this particular activity. How much time according to me will it take? Please, what do you do? Pen it down. Right? And I request involve your family. I do the same thing. Because when together there is consensus, automatically one day you don't get up in the morning for an hour and say, they will ensure your get up. Correct? So it should always be with the family so that you are getting their support as well. Which I do personally. These are things which I tell. So organize it. Okay? What is the fourth point? Can you be loud on this? This is a big problem with us. Yes? आएगा शादी पे 100%. ऐसा 400% बोल चुका है ऑलरेडी 400% टच. करेक्ट? इस पे आएगा 100%. Don't worry. Just एक text भेज. वैसे भी बहुत text आता है. Correct? Please learn to say no. There is nothing wrong. You are not hurting anybody. The biggest problem of time management is I don't know to say no. And we feel the other person actually feels bad about it. There is nothing bad. You just cannot. It's cannot. It's okay. Right? So when you learn to say no, this is not possible. Or I will get back to you after checking my schedule. There is nothing wrong about it. You are not hurting anybody's sentiments. Right? The problem with us is there was some educationalist whom I was speaking to. She said we should teach even children to say no.
Marriage is not going to get held up because you don't make it unless you are the Purohit.
Sorry? Marriage?
It's not going to get held up if you don't make it. So,
Absolutely.
unless you are the Purohit.
Absolutely. Your blessings can always reach us very fast. Right? So the fact is, these are the things. Let us be there, so it is not possible. Sunday morning I am here, I cannot attend. It is perfectly okay. Please sir to say no here as well as in office both. Okay? And I don't think any boss, as long as he sees you are delivering that kind of a result he wants you to sit there till 11 o'clock in the night. Nobody does that. Yeah? Okay? Use your waiting time. We have phenomenal waiting times. And we have the best gadgets. So all that, if I would just ask in this room, how many people had the urge to read a book and they have still not finished it? Almost all? मेरे को वो book पढ़ना था. Yes or no? अभी तक मैंने वो book पढ़ा ही नहीं.
खरीदा ही नहीं.
नहीं खरीदा नहीं है उस स्टिल ओके. खरीद के वो with packet पढ़ा है. So every day in the morning I see that book and the book says when are you opening me? And I say okay, I don't have time. Correct? So this is the book and we all need to read, we all need to do this. So use your waiting time because there will be a lot of things you can do on waiting time. It is excellent, especially if you don't drive. If you use the public transport, you have absolutely. So you can do all these things. So there is a lot of waiting time which is available to all of us. We can properly do it. Okay, and at least in my kind of field where I need to read a lot, I use my serious waiting time to do all that. So it helps you a lot. Okay, concentrate on task in hand. Right, multitasking has become an advantage today. People think, "Arey, he is a great multitasker." Right, but you know what happens in the process? You lose out on so many things. So you end up doing everything very, very haphazard. So while I am working on some particular email, my WhatsApp will ring, I will immediately check that, which will be some forward, I don't have to see it at all. Okay, but still that becomes urgent and important to me. And this actually which is important, that goes for us. Right? So please concentrate on work in hand because that makes all the difference in terms of being able to do it. So if you can organize your time, like I met recently a CEO of a company who doesn't use a smartphone. He has that 1,200 rupees Samsung Guru. It's 1,500 rupees. He says, I don't want a smartphone, I don't need it. Okay? He says, I check mail 4 times a day. There is no hard for, and he's a CEO of a seriously big company.
Please tell that to the kids, I say.
So actually this was a session where I expected a lot of youth, but obviously there are youth also. But the fact is, that first happens. So when you actually see, he says, I see 4 times a day, and till now not a single person has come back to me and said, you will not respond. You know what is the disadvantage when you start responding to mails immediately? One day you delay by 5 minutes.
Another person you set expectation.
One day you delay by 5 minutes, he says, what?
Online real time, no response.
No response? This is very unprofessional. Correct? Right? So you set that thing, got your mail, will revert in 24 hours. You know, you have that all set in that particular thing, which is very much possible. Right? Consider your personal prime time. Now, this is what this time management session has come, actually developed by somebody in West. But here, there are a lot of these Indian concepts there. Now, they have spoken about prime times like Brahma Muhurta and that. Okay? Now, every person has his prime time. Okay? So, he says certain things you will be able to improve your efficiency when done at a point of time, where they have written all this. Now, many times I recently got a forward of that Hanuman Chalisa. What is that? Equation of the distance between Earth and What I didn't like about that SMS is, it says, see, it is exact and it is confirmed by NASA. So the validation comes from West. So unfortunate, but anyway, rather than somebody saying, the saint has written, so that is what. So I am also validating the same thing from West. Okay. The fact is that prime time if you do certain things, it works better. So when you say you practice music from 4 to 6, or when you say that you actually look at studying in the morning, it actually makes sense. So see for your own self what is the prime time which works best for you. Because what happens is at that point of time the resources are less. Though the resources are less, the output is exceptionally high. If I can alter my timing in that way, it makes all the difference. So it's taken a long time for me now to set my sleeping time.
My daughter is very weird. She says she can study only between 12 and 2 in the night.
So then that is different. The reason is, so that's why I said consider your personal prime time.
So should I encourage that 12 to 2?
See, as long as the results are okay, it's fine. If the results are different, then we need to change the personal prime time. Okay? The fact is, for every person there will be a personal prime time. Like I have a very close friend of mine who is a musician, who is a music director, and the entire Bollywood industry works in the night. Okay, so he says, you don't ask me to get up in the morning and compose. I can only sleep. Right? So I am not saying that, but I am just saying see for yourself, do a self-introspection as to what time you actually work best with what kind of a thing. Right? I prefer not to read anything in the afternoon. Okay, I am generally like that. I don't like reading something in the afternoon. I prefer reading more in the morning. Yeah, you're drowsy or whatever. Yeah. So I work a lot more on my plans and whatever in the afternoon. In the morning I do my reading, and in the evening I can repeat for something else because my efficiency improves. Please celebrate your success in the end, because what happens, like for some people, after time management you will start reaching on time and there will be very few people to appreciate because others will be late. Okay, so you please appreciate yourself, because the fact remains that you need that kind of incentive. So people who go on diets, the dietitian also says after you lost 5 kilos, go and treat yourself. Not so much that you gain back, but after you have lost 5 kilos, you go out and have this particular snack, so that it's kind of an incentivization and a motivation for you to be able to do it. So once these things fall into place, so this is just a method. Unless and until we follow this, so I actually wanted to distribute, take this for a longer time, but we don't have that constraint, or we have that constraint, where each and every person sits down, writes his goals, allocates this to urgent, not urgent, important, not important, and then he sets, prioritizes it, and by the time you leave this particular place, you are very clear on your schedule, right? But this can be done at home as well, right? So what I suggest is, first please go home and at least note down the goals. And once the goals are there, you automatically, prioritize them, set goals, prioritize them, organize, start saying no, use your waiting time, concentrate on the task, and I'm sure this will lead to an efficient thing. Now, once you have done this exercise, it is not that from tomorrow you will start managing your time extremely better. It will not happen later. So, it will slowly a gradual process. It generally takes about 3 months or 4 months for you to get this into place. And once this happens, it can be very, very comfortably, all kinds of activities, everything can be managed very, very comfortably. This I am telling purely out of my personal experience, because sometimes work schedules are very crazy, right? So plus I keep writing sometimes, I contribute articles, so that suddenly comes up, and whenever you deal with media, they want everything as of yesterday. So they will call you on Thursday and say, this article Wednesday ko chahiye. It's always, sorry? Sorry. We have a session after this by switch on that. So, so no, sometimes it's crazy, especially when I deal with Times of India and all that. They will call up and they will say, this has to go tomorrow morning. Can you send the mail by 10 p.m? It's that way. So you will always have in BCom, we always, when the balance sheet didn't tally, we had a savior called a suspense account.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is there in suspense is suspense to us also. Okay, forget the examiner, right? So it will eventually balance. So there will always be some time which you will allocate, which you will say, I will do nothing. This time I will do nothing. Because what happens is when you allocate that time, there is something or the other which will prop up in, it will fill the time. It will fill the time. Like when we do a financial allocation, we say every month some unforeseen expenses to set aside some money. That unforeseen becomes foreseen every month. Correct? In the similar way, once you do this, it makes a lot of difference. Now what I've tried to cover in half an hour, as much as I could push my speed, is just a tool by means of which you can do it. If you go back home and actually, if you want, I can share the presentation, that's not a problem. If you go back home and actually do this exercise, sit for 2-3 hours and do it, it makes a lot of sense. And I request people, you ask your children also to do it. because they are more hard pressed for time, more than anything else. And one thing which I am seeing is at the being a part of the youth today we have knowledge, Swami's grace, we have efficiency, we have health. Once we cross that 10, 15, 20 years, I think, and I have seen the way things fly, time always flies, time has never been very constant. Many of the things we will not be able to do it because of so many things we want to. So today is an opportunity, so grab it and do it so that it helps us in our personal development. And if it is not working out that way, just sit with this in an efficient manner, and I am very, very sure one day or the other we will be able to do what we want to do. Right? Are you with me? Yeah? So please go and try this out. If it works, I am very, very happy. Yeah? Thank you.